I'm not joking.
How does the marriage to the French lady factor in?
Well, we met on email.
Huh.
A bit like You've Got Mail, the Hollywood film.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my wife was... my wife is sitting beside me, and she's making signals. Well, what is it you're saying, dear?
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Is there any chance we could talk to your wife? If she's sitting right next there.
Yes.
Next to, okay.
I want to talk to you, dear.
Oh yes, with my inviting.
Come on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I hope.
Sorry, I am French and my English is not very excellent.
No, you're fantastic. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
You mentioned that Ötzi was what brought you together.
Yes, it's true. I was a teacher, a primary school teacher.
She emailed me some questions about Ötzi.
Yes.
And I answered them to the best of my ability, and shortly after, we were married.
Yes.
No kidding. So
Ötzi is my benefactor, my friend.
Okay, so we should introduce ourselves real fast. I'm Jad.
I am Robert.
This is Radio Lab.
The podcast.
And so that guy, Jim Dixon, I believe he's a botanist. Called him 4 years ago to talk about this fellow Ötzi. I'm going to tell Ötzi's story completely in just a second, but there's something in the whole interaction between him and his wife there that just kind of captures how everybody gets when they get into Ötzi. They either get married or they get obsessed.
Yeah, but it wasn't until very recently our producer Andy Mills and I happened to talk to this graphic artist named Aaron Berg, who is also totally obsessed with this guy.
Yes, yeah. I think there's this hunger on the part of the reader.
That's when we really understood what this story is all about.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, that's where it all started.
And since Andy's been reporting this piece, why don't Andy you just take the ball from here?
Okay,
Do it, Andy.
so story starts 1991, way up in the Alps.
At 3,210 metres above sea level. I know you Americans don't think in metres, that's roughly 10,500 feet.
This is a frozen glacial spot.
And up there, walking around,
We're two hill walkers,
Two hill walkers, hikers.
hikers, aye. It was a German couple, a man and wife.
it was early in the afternoon.
And
At some point,
they take a notion to head off trail.
And they were only 100 yards off the beaten track.
and after just a few minutes,
They round a little rock, and that's when they were stopped dead in their tracks
By what?
by a corpse.
His corpse sticking out of the ice. He was lying on his stomach.
Face down in the ice.
He was kind of draped over a big boulder.
his legs are buried under the ice up to his hips, and his top half is just sticking out.
His left arm is kind of under his forehead, almost like a schoolboy falling asleep in class on his arm.
So these two hikers, they see this and they run off for help.
They hot-footed it to the nearby mountain hut, thinking it was a mountaineering accident.
A recent one.
And they called the police.
They said, hey, somebody, a tourist or a climber, had some sort of accident. And so the cops showed up with drills and ice picks and started to chip away at the ice, trying to get the body out. But then, they started noticing some things. Like, this guy had all these tattoos.
On his back and behind his knees.
Then they start noticing all this stuff buried with him.
He's got some kind of moccasin, looks like ox skin.
He had a bearskin cap.
Unusual stuff.
He had a copper-headed, U-hafted axe.
A what?
A small pouch filled with medicinal tree fungus.
A quiver full of arrows. A longbow.
He had grass socks.
Grass socks?
Woven grass.
A dagger that has been chipped out of stone.
And so these cops realize
This is not a 20th century tourist who wandered off trail.
This was something extraordinary.
This is old.
Like Renaissance or old Middle Ages or old...
Well, wouldn't we like to know?
And what did the police do?
Well, the police reported it to the forensic authorities in the University of Innsbruck.
basically they took it to a team of local scientists who sent samples out to a bunch of labs and eventually confirmed that, yeah, this is old. But not just old. This was really old. This body is 5,300 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
That's way before Jesus, way before Moses.
If you were to use as a historic mark point, let's say the pyramids of Egypt, this would be the 700 years prior to the construction of the pyramid in Giza.
It was beyond archaeologists' wildest dreams. A 5,200-year-old perfectly preserved corpse.
We're talking about a man with all his skin, with his eyeballs, his teeth, his tongue, his groin, his organs, his guts, everything's in there. Everything is almost perfectly freeze-dried.
There he is.
So what does he look like?
Oh, well, he was bearded.
He's 45 years old, which I think for 3000 BC is pretty darn old.
And he was a small guy. He was only about 5'2" in height.
But his calf muscles, his thigh muscles are incredibly developed.
Yeah.
So this would suggest that he's a hunter or a shepherd of some kind who walks these mountains.
His physique is comparable to a modern Olympian wrestler. He's very obviously a human being. Very, very obviously, and he would have had all the hopes and fears of you and I.
They even gave him a name,
Ötzi.
Ötzi.
even though some of us can't really pronounce that name.
Otzi.
Spell it.
O with 2 dots on top.
Scientists call him Ötzi.
There's all kinds of drama. There's Austria competing with Italy. He's our mummy. No, he's our mummy. He's on the border. Whose mummy is he?
Eventually, the Italians got him.
Because he's said to be 92 meters inside Italy.
A whole museum is built around him. An entire facility is built to freeze him. There's teams of researchers. There's competing universities. You have documentaries. You have books and articles about this incredible mummy who was walking in the icy fell. Isn't that fascinating?
You know Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
He got a tattoo of Ötzi on his arm.
Really?
But what